Yo, what's up? Enlisted changed a lot over the last months, especially in the economical sector. This opens up many new ways for you to grind the game faster and to get more silver in your matches. To keep you up to date and to share my newest discoveries in the enlisted grind situation with you, I compiled this list of 15 must-know grind tricks for enlisted. And we start with the newest addition to the game, the 20% experience bonus of Gold Order soldiers. For the most time, they were quite useless, but now Gold Order soldiers are actually really good. They're actually so good you want to have one in every single of your squad. Why? As long as you put a Gold Order soldier in your squad in your main menu, during the game, this whole squad, it doesn't matter if the soldier is alive or not, will get an additional 20% bonus on experience, which also means 20% bonus on silver, because your silver gain is roughly 10% of what you get as experience. This means if you double the amount of experience you get, you also get double the amount of silver. So what you want to do is you go to the Battle Pass shop in the main menu and look at the Gold Order soldiers there. The best classes to get are Engineer 2, Tank Gunner 2, Radioman 2, Rifleman 2 or higher, and Attacker Pilots and Tankers. For the first of these classes, it's good to get them because they're the highest you can unlock anyway. And for the other classes, even if you can get better ones in the tech tree, because very high start Gold Order soldiers are quite rare or sometimes even non-existent, you can still put them in a squad without any problems, because many vehicle squads, for example a tank squad, can use multiple different tanks. And some of these tanks might have 4 soldier slots, others have 5. But this particular tank squad will have 5 slots in the main menu where you can put in soldiers. And if you use a tank with only 4 slots, you will have 4, the first 4 soldiers you use in your game fighting. And the 5th slot, you can fill up with a Gold Order soldier, even if this one is weaker or not upgraded or not equipped compared to the first 4 soldiers, you will still get the experience. So this soldier doesn't even need to fight. He only needs to be present in your squad in the main menu, not even in the battles themselves, to get this bonus. And for all normal squads, for all the infantry squads, just put in exactly 1 Gold Order soldier in your squad. Make sure all of your squads have 1 Gold Order soldier. And congratulations, now you will get the bonus. Same thing goes for some event squads where you get a special soldier. For example, the Halloween event gives you a German machine gunner squad with a special machine gunner. And this one also gives you a 20% bonus. So make sure you use this. I, after the recent update, upgraded all of my armies, giving almost all squads 1 Gold Order soldier. And yes, guess what? 20% more silver gain since a couple of days. Very good and comfy. The next 2 points are engineer related and very easy to implement. First, have at least 1 engineer in every single squad. It's the most essential, most impactful, and overall strongest soldier class in the game. And it opens you up multiple ways to get additional experience. The first trick is, if you see enemies shooting at you or teammates, drop 1 sandbag, or if you can more. You do this by dropping down on the ground and then start hammering your sandbag. This will act as a bullet sponge and give you experience every single time a bullet hits the sandbag. This may not sound like much, but if you do this over the course of an average 20-minute game, you will get easily 100 or 200 more battle score based on this. And this adds up. And it also affects your gameplay much better because you're much more likely to win if you and your teammates survive. So this is something very easy, very fast to do, also very fun because you will instantly see the effects. Same thing goes for ammo boxes. Whenever you see there's an objective, well, drop an ammo box. Or you see an enemy position and the enemy position is, well, attacked by your teammates and you see, alright, here are my teammates, let's give them an ammo box and so on. So intelligently placed ammo boxes will give you tons of experience. You can also build bigger structures like anti-air guns, anti-tank guns, and if your teammates use them, you will get insane amounts of bonus experience for every single kill. Only problem is, enlisted teammates do this quite rarely, so in theory this is great, but it doesn't work that often. You can overcome this, though, by, if you play in a 2-stack with a friend, you can just build both one engineer structure. One, for example, builds an anti-air gun, the other one an anti-tank gun. And then you use the other player's structure. Because then you get basically twice the experience. Because you get your experience for the kill you do, and then your friend gets the bonus experience for assists. And when he gets kills, you get assists from him. And you see, this is a very legal, by the way, absolutely legal way to get insane amounts of extra experience. Medics can do something similar. When you see a medic, you can drop a med box next to a spawn point so people start grabbing them. But you can also drop them, of course, on objectives where people constantly get shot at in order to grab all of the med kits to heal themselves. Though not every player plays medic, so this is something harder to accomplish, but the engineer tricks are very easy. Second engineer trick is, make sure that you always have a rally up. Don't let those 35 additional experience points be lost. Always build rally points and always have an APC up. So you want both. You want at any point of the game a rally point and an APC. Most people think, oh, it's okay if I have only one. Well, yeah, if you want to win games, especially hard games, you better have both. And especially if you want to get a lot of additional experience in silver, having both extremely useful. Then use auto marking. You can see it in literally all of my games. I have always auto marking on, meaning I have marking bound to my shooting button. So whenever I shoot, I automatically mark it. And it also works as double marking, for example, on vehicles. So if I see a tank, I shoot at him, he gets double marked, and I will get experience for whoever will kill the tank because I marked it. And also because I hit it, it doesn't matter if you actually deal damage, you can shoot a tank with a pistol, and if someone blows it up, you will get a little bit of assist. So this also adds up during a battle, especially since things like APCs and so on also count. And as a bonus, it makes the game more fun and smoother because you don't have to constantly click marking, especially during gun battles where you don't even have the time to do it. Then, a common misconception, people think playing in stacks is gonna give them more experience because they will win more games. This is not really true because if you play in stacks, if the stack is too strong compared to the enemy team, games will be extremely one-sided. And one-sided games basically always give you less experience than balanced games. The second disadvantage of overstacking is that your teammates will cannibalize your experience. So if you're in a 4-stack, meaning the game is already highly skewed towards your team, and you're constantly rushing through the enemies, there's not much to shoot or to do, especially not in terms of support plays like healing, building rallies and so on, because if you're an attacker, you will too quickly rush ahead and there won't be many teammates dying, so less teammates will respawn. And if you're killing your enemies too quickly, you also don't need as much ammunition and there's not much activation on your ammo boxes and so on. And if the enemies don't even fight back, your sandbags won't be too effective. Also many other similar effects. All of this means these types of one-sided games will give you a lot less experience. And support actions in Enlisted give you usually more experience than normal kills. They actually experience multipliers for additional experience bonus, and there are negative multipliers. For example, if you get kills with vehicles, like tanks or planes with bombs and rockets, you get a penalty. Meaning you can get a very high battle score in the game, that you will see in the end of the game, but if you look at the experience, you will have much less experience than your battle score. It's because you get an experience penalty on experience gained with planes and tanks. But experience you get with engineers, especially from all the engineer structures, are counted completely. Some of them even with a bonus. So this is exactly what you want to maximize in a game, and you want balanced games. So the optimal way of stacking is usually 2 players playing together. This is very fun, because it's usually more fun than to play alone. You can talk to each other, you can learn from each other, and it leads to balanced games. This is exactly the way I play Enlisted. Around 50% of games I play alone, around 45% I play with one other person, and very rarely I play with more than one other person because it's just way too boring. Related to that is the common mistake of playing for battle score and not for the win. Winning Enlisted games will give you a big 50% bonus on your experience and silver gain. Losing will not give it to you, so you rather win games. Many players, though, try to farm battle score in a game, thinking this is the same as experience and silver, which, as I already explained, is not, especially if this farming is done with tanks and planes. So, if a player is vehicle noobing around in a game, and winning the game, it's fine. But if he's vehicle noobing, but losing the game, then it's not fine, because neither does his team profit from that, nor himself, because he won't even get remotely the additional experience that he thinks he get from the high battle score, and also he loses the game, so he misses out on the winning bonus. So be a smart player and play for the win and not for the battle score. Then, getting kills on objectives gives you more experience, roughly 50% more experience, than getting kills randomly somewhere on the map. Now this works in two ways. If you are on the objective, you will get the bonus. And if your target is on the objective, you also get the bonus. So make sure you get one of these two effects. Running around somewhere across the map and shooting, for example, sitting in your gray zone and shooting in the enemy gray zone, might be effective, but it doesn't give you any of these advantages. But being in your gray zone and shooting on the objective, this gives you the advantage or bonus, or being on your objective and shooting into the enemy gray zone will also give you this advantage. So if you're placing something like a machine gun nest or anti-tank gun and you're shooting targets outside of the objective area, make sure it touches the objective area, so you get the 50% multiplier. Then the question regarding which BR gives you on average more experience, very simple, it's clearly low BR matches, specifically BR 1 or 2. The reason for that is that high BR matches are mostly very imbalanced. A, it's where the sweat stacks are running around, and you get too short and too imbalanced games, as already explained. And B, since weapon power is very high, the impact of support playstyle, that I, as already explained, gives you a lot of additional experience, is very low. So if you want to do all these tricks, the best way is to play BR 1 or 2. Also BR 3 works out mostly, though you want to avoid BR 4 and 5, because there you will miss out on a lot of experience. Next we have medal maxing. As you can see at the end of the game or the battle score, players who did exceptionally well in certain aspects of the game get medals for that. Some of these medals are very rarely used because people don't even do things to qualify for them. And these are the ones who are very easy to get. These are typically the medic medal, because few people are playing medics, or the best soldier after parachuting. Because if you have a paratrooper squad, not very few people use paratrooper squads, you will get this. But you can also get it by jumping out of a plane, of a normal plane with your soldier, and using this pilot as infantry, which is also a very good way to grind planes which are very weak, but you still want to grind the squad itself. And this way you can just play the pilot as infantry, which is oftentimes, especially on low BR with very weak planes, a much nicer way, much faster way to get experience. And you will also get this special rare medal. And same thing goes for some other medals. So take a look. I linked the data sheet for enlisted data down below, where you can look at how medals work in detail. Then you want to always, if you can, call an artillery strike. This is something I noticed many new players surprisingly don't do. You can call a free artillery strike every 4 minutes. And if you don't call it, you just lose it. So you just waste it, and if you call it later, yeah, you still get one, but you missed out on multiple artillery strikes throughout the game. So make sure you have around 2 or 3 squads. If you're completely free to play, it's enough to have 2 squads with a radio man, and roughly keep in mind when you call to your last artillery strike, or just have a watch next to your screen, and then you can see, alright, now it's time for another artillery strike. Artillery strikes, especially if you learn to place them well by understanding maps and the flow of battles, you will get easily 20, 30, 40 more kills every game, which adds up a lot. Also, make sure you have mines on every soldier. I recommend 2 anti-tank mines per squad and the rest infantry mines, and drop them everywhere. Everywhere means anti-tank mines on smart strategic positions, especially bottlenecks where tanks will be, or roads. And if you don't know anything any better, just drop it anywhere. You can even drop it, especially in dark areas or badly seen areas, on top of an ammo box or on top of any structure you build. And if an enemy destroys the structure, the mine will fall down and get triggered. This is not realistic physics, it's enlisted physics, but it works, and you will get a big explosion with your mine against infantry, which is something I also explained in my mine guide, also link below. And yeah, so mines, very useful, and anti-infantry mines don't need any explanation, just drop them anywhere, preferably around windows and doors and objectives, especially if you're defending an objective. Place them everywhere, well spread out, and you will get a lot of additional kills. Remember though, infantry mines were nerfed significantly a couple weeks ago. Now they don't always kill. But in return, this gives you the right to tell everyone who still complains about them, fuck off. Then, have a solution for all types of situations in your army. Even if you just have 4 squads in your free-to-play setup, make sure you can deal with tanks, you can deal with planes, you can deal with close, and you can deal with faraway targets. Now the best way to deal with all of this is an engineer squad, because then you theoretically can solve every problem. Though you also preferably want either a good tank that can kill enemy tanks. It doesn't require a strong anti-infantry cannon, so it doesn't need to have strong HE shells, but you want to absolutely always be able to penetrate enemy tanks, because otherwise you easily lose games against oppressive enemy tanks. Also, a plane is good. A plane is much better than anti-air guns, because planes are much faster, they have more utility, overall stronger if it's a good plane, and more importantly, you can shoot down bomber raids with them. Bomber raids also received an experience nerf a couple months ago. They don't give you 3,500 score anymore, but they still give you a lot. And despite getting the vehicle experience penalty, they still in the end give you a ton of experience in silver. So you preferably, if you only have one vehicle, try to learn planes. You will get the biggest profits out of it, though you really want to get additional squad slots and get a premium account, especially if it's on sale, which will be on Christmas soon, and make sure that you get one tank and one plane, and then you're perfectly set to grind the game. So a premium account, the best way to grind the game, also the best way to experience the game, because having more squad slots and getting twice the experience on everything you do is just very nice and comfy, and also quite inexpensive, roughly only $35 for the whole year if you buy it on sale at around Christmas. And regarding different distances, for short distance you always want to have a squad that either has good full auto weapons. This is very easy to do on higher BRs, but can be a problem on low BR, especially if you have weak SMGs and no machine guns available, though you can solve this easily by having a good rifleman squad acting as a grenadier with lots of grenades, as explained in my rifleman guide. And also things like, even if you don't like playing snipers, put one single sniper in your army somewhere, and whenever you're in a position where the enemies have a machine gun nest somewhere far away, or they have an anti-tank gun somewhere far away hidden, you can always use it to snipe him, or you can always use a sniper to search the enemy gray zone to find undefended rally points and so on. So having one way to deal with different situations that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, extremely valuable, not only for grinding, but also for winning games. Next, what is the best and fastest way to grind squads? Very simple. You always want to start with the blue technologies, so the additional experience, the 25% steps, and the additional squad size. If possible, also get an engineer quickly and a radio man quickly for the explained reasons. And afterwards the other unlocks become profitable, which one exactly depends heavily on the squad. So this is the first thing to understand. Second thing is, if you unlock a new tier of a soldier class, for example, you already have finished grinding Rifleman 1 and you unlocked Rifleman 2, you will get a new squad with 4 Rifleman 1s as fillers and 1 Rifleman 2 in your squad as the new soldier. Most people make the mistake of playing the squad the way it is. What you want to do is, as a smart enlisted player, always kick out the new soldier class. Because the new soldier class doesn't have the 100% additional experience that your lower class soldiers have. This is true for every single squad enlisted. For example, you unlock Engineer 2s. Well, you instantly want to kick out the Engineer 2 from the squad and put in an Engineer 1 to get the additional 100% bonus for this particular soldier. Keep in mind all the bonuses for squads, for particular soldiers, and bonuses like late game multipliers or after game multipliers, premium and so on, they all stack with each other. So you want to maximize as many of them as possible together, so you get a lot of experience at the end. Related to that is the, especially for new players, highly confusing question: which squads should you grind, unlock and upgrade? Because putting time and silver into the wrong things will be extremely expensive, especially if you repeat the mistake. So here's the optimal way for you. You want to perfectly unlock and upgrade your level 1 soldiers, so Engineer 1, Rifleman 1, Tanker 1 and so on. Then for the higher levels, only grind and buy the last level you can get and no in-between steps. For example, for Assaulters, there are Assaulter 2 and Assaulter 3, but also Assaulter 4. It's not really useful to waste time and silver into Assaulter 2 and Assaulter 3 if you eventually want to play only Assaulter 4s anyway. Same thing goes for Rifleman. You don't really need Rifleman 2 if you can get Rifleman 3, and so on. Then, a surprisingly common mistake regarding squad sizes: you always want to play the biggest squad size you can get. So if you have a squad that can get 7 soldiers, unlock the squad to play 7 soldiers and play 7 soldiers. Never play less than you can. There's absolutely no reason at all to play fewer soldiers than you're allowed to by the game. And no, the misconception that it's easier to hide smaller squads so they don't get found by the enemies is simply wrong. If you hide your soldiers well, which is done by spending less than a quarter of a second, by turning around and clicking X on the ground and ordering your soldiers to stay there, it's very easy and they are safe there and you can fight with your 1 soldier. After the soldier that you control yourself dies, you take one of the other soldiers and now you can play them. 2, and after this one dies, you can take the other soldier, and so on. Unless the enemies discover your group of soldiers hiding somewhere, you will be able to get a lot of experience, a lot of kills and grind with the soldiers that you have. And the more of them, the better. Now, there are also other ways to profit from higher squad sizes. A, if you want to quickly cap an objective, the more buddies, the better. If the enemies are capping your objective, the more defenders you have, the better too. If you're using something like an anti-tank gun, you always want to have access to 2 soldiers to man it so you get faster reload. And since anti-tank gunners are quite exposed and people love to snipe them, you will oftentimes see a steady decline of your squad size because the enemies are sniping them. But if you have a full engineer squad, you will still survive for long enough to be able to deal a lot of damage. So more soldiers, always better. And even if you don't use any intricate strategies, it's just simple to put a whole squad into the front line and letting your bots shooting at the enemy to give you a lot of bot kills, because you get for them the same amount of experience as you get for the kills you do yourself. And bots that are well equipped and well perked will give you surprisingly many kills, especially machine gunner bots, which are the deadliest bots of all in the game. So make sure you play as big squads as possible and don't miss out on additional experience and silver. That's it. Now you are perfectly prepared to get all the experience and all the silver while playing Enlisted, and to save a lot of time, because grinding faster means you will either have to spend less time grinding or you will progress much faster and unlock everything you want much earlier. And for the end, I got a bonus point regarding the Join Any Faction button, which gives you a ton of additional experience if you use it, but with the downside of not knowing which faction you will end up in, and oftentimes ending up in a weaker faction and having a higher chance to lose games. Now, there is a way to mitigate this effect and to significantly increase the chance to get in the army that you actually want to play despite clicking on Join Any Faction. It's a bit complicated though, and the snail doesn't like to give away this last extra chunk of experience easily. That's why I explained it in my matchmaking guide that you can see here. You can share your stories how this helped you grind faster in the comments below, and if you learned something, make sure you like and subscribe if you're new, and share this with all your nerd friends so they can also build the enlisted army of their dreams.
Die feindliche Verteidigung durchbrochen.